Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Peace be unto you. Wishing you nothing but peace in this chaotic world, right? So this morning we're going to continue our conversation on the importance of historic preservation. I hope you tuned in yesterday. And if you're with us today, we're going to continue, but we're going to make it a little bit more personal. Okay. So be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll be right back in a few.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. You're tuned into the Sajda Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. yesterday we got pretty deep into historic preservation, and I'll send out some clips so you all can get some highlights from the show and come back and take a look at it. We talked about the benefits. We talk about some of the methodology for preservation, that kind of stuff. And today, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room, I call it us. I can't tell you how many of y'all text me and email me and say, but how are we going to do that? We so messed up. How do we value one another? How do we get to that point? And my response to everybody is, we have to start with self. I think we tend to say, look at them, look at how they're doing. And I was so good to this person was jealous or whatever. But all we can do is control ourselves. And so I want to talk about that a little bit today. Let's see what we got going on. Today we have a book signing and networking event here in Chicago at the Silver Room on 53rd and Hyde Park. So I hope you all can come out and check us out, do some networking, bring your business card. These types of events are really important because it's going to help you to start building your circle. You know, who are those people that can answer some of the service requests that you're looking for? Who are some of the people that can partner with you on projects or provide a venue or support you, or who you can support? Networking is critical. 9 times out of 10, you know, you're not going to get what you're looking for by putting in an application somewhere. You know, they say that over half of the jobs and consulting opportunities that you see out here on these websites are fake. Do you realize that? It's terrible. Half of them. And so what that means is that we have to go inward. We have to start reaching out to people that we know. We have to build our network. And I know a lot of us are saying, and this is what you guys have put in the chat and in my emails. Yeah, but you just can't trust people. There's intercessions everywhere. Here's the thing. Something I learned from my great, beautiful mentor is you keep your circle tight. You're going to have a core circle that you're going to keep tight. And then you're going to have concentric circles that go out from there. Some people, and this is, I think sometimes because we're in need all the time, a lot of times, some people are not trying to be your friend. Some people really just have a transactional relationship with you. They don't call you to see how you're doing. They don't come to any of your events. They don't hang out with you. It's transactional. And you got to just be okay with that and stop trying to make a transactional relationship an interpersonal relationship. A lot of times you may go into business with somebody. You guys can very well go into business and do great business together. That's very, very possible. And it's okay. But it doesn't mean that you're best friends. Doesn't mean that's your homie, your home girl. So some of that is our trauma, our interpersonal trauma, where we just be doing too much. Okay. Sometimes we just do too much with people. So when we're trying to figure out how do we unite, how do we create partnerships, how do we create that unity, start with networking, start with events like what we're having today at 4 to 6 at the Silver Room, and start meeting people. And when you meet people, allow the relationship to flow and unfold the way it's meant to unfold. So if that person becomes part of your inner circle, all praises due to Allah. If that person is part of one of your concentric circles, all praises due to Allah. But allow it to be what it is. I think oftentimes what is we operate under the I gotta be careful umbrella. We don't like nobody. We don't trust nobody. We think everybody's out to hurt us. I talked about this 2 weeks ago. The idea is to be mindful, because you really don't necessarily know what you need to be careful of until you're mindful first, right? So you want to be mindful, and then when you're mindful, you're putting together a strategy. All right. So when we're talking about unity, we're talking about pooling our resources. We're talking about some of the behaviors that happen within our community that make us uncomfortable. And it starts with self. It really honestly starts with self. And because in most cases, a lot of us have never really had these kinds of healthy relationships in business, we tend to just mimic what we see happening in the general. Okay. So again, first lesson. Sometimes people are just transactional with you. It's a transactional relationship. You do work for them. They pay you. They may fake it like they cool with you, like, that's your homie, your sister girl. They may fake it. They may do a little bit to make you feel like that. But you have to look at behaviors. Are they there to support you? Are they there when you need them? That may not be somebody that's in your inner circle. And it's okay. You don't have to get mad at them. Just stop looking at them as being part of your inner circle. Maybe they're one of the other concentric. Maybe it's a business and transactional relationship, and you all may be friendly, but maybe it just doesn't mean that that's your best friend. That's your tight homegirl, homeboy. So we got to make those adjustments and learn, because otherwise we create expectations that cause problems in relationships. Okay. The other thing is, oftentimes when you're in business, and this is the old Maya Angelou statement, when people show you who they are, believe them. You can't be friends with somebody that's trying to hijack your identity or hijack your life, or who may be two-faced, or who may be what I call a Trojan horse. You see them and they look like they're one way, and then you look, all of a sudden you're like, they playing both sides of the fence. It's okay. Let them be who they are. You don't even got to be mad at them. Let them be who they are, and be grateful that you now know. And then what do you do with them? You figure out if they're part of one of the concentric circles, and if so, which one? And it may just be a transactional relationship. I know this person, they really ain't about it with me, but we have a transactional relationship. It's cool. So learn how to manage your expectations in these collaborations and in these partnerships. Now, if somebody is your tight person, Sister Aletha and I, we've known each other for over 30 years. Like, that's my sister. So we have certain sisterly expectations and obligations. And we know, she know I got her back, and I know she got mine. I got other people that are in an inner circle space with me like that. But everybody doesn't fit there. See, that's part of our problem too. We go into these partnerships, we go into these connections, and we don't realize that maybe that's not your best friend. Maybe that's not your sister. Maybe that's not your brother. Maybe that's just a transactional relationship. And you need to figure out how to work your business so you get what you need and you move on. Sometimes you have to be okay with saying, this is just not somebody that I can gel with. Some people are very two-faced. Some people operate playing both sides of the fence. Some people are all about the money, all about the attention. Some people are like that. And when you see that in a person, it's okay. But you got to push them out and away from your inner circle, because they can't be a part of your inner circle to hear things or have access to things that they're going to take back to somebody else. And you got to be okay with that. Stop trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Some people are just very competitive. And when you see that from somebody, again, a competitive person, somebody that wants your life, somebody that hijacks your identity, cannot be a part of your inner circle. You have to push them out to one of the concentric circles. Because if that's the case, think about all the things that are going to happen within that business transaction if they're competing with you. Some people have no original ideas themselves. They just hang around you so that they can see what you're doing, and then they go try to do it. Some people don't like you at all, and they just hang around you so they could get in your business and then go and say negative things about you, or feel a way so that they can have a one-up. All of these are things that you pay attention to. So the 6 or 8 of us going into business for ourselves that we talked about all this week starts with us. And then we know if we're two-faced. We know if we play both ends of the stick. We know if we're not all the way right. Just like you can see what somebody's agenda is, other people can see yours. Sometimes you're wrong. A lot of times you're right. So be honest with yourself. But it all starts here. When you move down the road and making sure that you do the right thing, and I set personal mission goals. I want to be an asset. Even if you're in one of my far out concentric circles, I want you to benefit from being even in one of those circles with me. And so I strive to be an asset to people. So I don't play both sides of the fence. If you come around me and come close, you can pretty much guarantee I'm not going to be two-faced. You can pretty much guarantee I'm not going to steal from you. I'm not even going to take your idea. I'm not going to take your vibe. I'm not going to take your look. I'm going to support everything about you and your authentic self. That's just my own personal mission. And if it's something that you share with me that you do that I could benefit from, then it will be mutually known and understood. It won't be me hanging around, ear hustling, and then trying to figure out how to do what you do. It won't be me going, okay, I see she wore that today. Let me try to wear something like that or better. I just make sure that I don't operate in that space. I really, truly believe that that's the mind of Yakub. See, we are so used to that as Black people. And I hate to take it here, but a lot of us, and because a lot of us don't like it, but we're so used to that behavior as Black people, where people see us, they mimic us, they take our style, they take our swag, they play both ends of the stick. They're not genuine with us. We literally have become brainwashed into thinking that that is the way in which we should do business. Some of us have no idea how to do righteous business. And that's okay too, because I realize that a lot of us have not seen it, and they don't come from the teachings of supreme wisdom like many of us in the Nation of Islam, where we're taught how to conduct ourselves and how to support and want for our brother and sister what we want for ourselves. A lot of us don't have access to the self-improvement process that we get from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and that body of study guides that helps us with every aspect of our life. A lot of us don't. And so I get that. And even sometimes those of us that do have never seen it applied in business. And I get that too. But while you're learning, if you're not of good character, you got to be in one of the other circles. And then maybe once we all learn and come together, we can say, all right, we can do business together. We can be in each other's inner circle. So in the Art of Science of Business, you see the QR code here where you can go and purchase the book. That's the book cover right there. Or you can go to the website, artandscienceofbusiness.com. I talk about in there how we should be conducting ourselves in business. At what point does nation building take precedence over other things? And I will say this. for somebody like myself and those of my friends and sisters and brothers in my inner circle, we are usually pushing the envelope with our projects and with things that we do. So much so that if you don't have a lot of faith, or if you believe that other things are gods besides Allah, then it will be really tough for you to be with us, because you're going to feel insecure, you're going to feel inadequate. And if your trigger makes you, if your trauma and your trigger makes you then become two-faced and an identity thief and non-supportive and just transactional, then that's 9 times out of 10 going to happen to you relatively quickly in that circle. So how do we do this? We got to start with self. We got to start with how we behave and conduct ourselves, be honest with ourselves. And I know that's a loaded thing, because a lot of us use deceptive intelligence. Deceptive intelligence is when you come up with a reason or an excuse that sounds intelligent to you, but justifies your behavior. That's deceptive intelligence. So a lot of us do use deceptive intelligence, but working on that within ourselves, and then making sure that we choose people correctly. See, don't choose a business partner or a collaborator the way you may choose a love relationship. You see them, they cute, they give you butterflies, and you're like, I'm going for it. That's how a lot of us choose business partners. That's how a lot of us choose collaborators. But that shouldn't be how we choose a mate, and it definitely shouldn't be how we choose a collaborator. We have to evaluate. We have to spend time. We have to network. We have to interact with the person. See how they conduct themselves. Some people are just not your cup of tea. Sometimes you thought that person was your cup of tea, and then you realize that maybe you feel like they're your cup of tea, but you're not their cup of tea. That happens too. I've had situations where I've been endeared to people or endeared to an organization, and realize that not only is it just transactional, that they are never going to try to put me in front of any opportunity. They're never going to, try to support anything that I do. I never see them at anything. And it's not about being mad. It just means that my resources now are on a transactional basis. So I offer you my resources. You return that based on whatever the terms of the transaction are. Sometimes when we become really endeared, there's one particular conference, I won't say the name, that you all will hear me talk about on the podcast all the time. And I would go to it all the time. And I love the concept, and I love all the people that I met there, but I'm not their cup of tea in terms of maybe being on a main stage, maybe being up front. It's very transactional. And I've actually paid money and made donations and donated time. But when I realized that's not coming back to me. They're having events. I'm either not really invited, or if I'm invited, it's just kind of like an afterthought. They have other people that do what I do, but I'm supposed to be in the inner circle, but those people are on the main stage and I'm not. You know what? Let's dial that back a little bit, because I think it's wrong, and it ruins relationships if you continue to push forward and try to turn that into something that it's not. And so in the interest of preserving relationships that I built through that process, I said, let me dial back. And so we have to be mature enough to do that as well, and not get your feelings all messed up, and you just may not be their cup of tea. It just ain't in the cards for you all to interact. So instead of feeling insecure and pressing your way and trying to make a person come to my thing or invite me or da-da-da, Just dial it back. Maybe they're not designed to go where you're going. And maybe you're not designed to go where they're going. All of that is okay. All right. We're reviewing what we talked about, the importance of historic preservation yesterday. And I'm just popping out the subject of the collaboration piece because so many of you had questions about that. And I welcome your questions or comments in the chat as well. You had questions about how do we unite? I hear it all the time. Man, we so messed up. But a lot of us are messed up because we're messed up. A lot of our relationships are messed up because we're messed up. What expectations did we have? Did we have incorrect expectations? Did we try to put somebody in a position that maybe they weren't meant to be in our life? Did we make a God out of that person, place, or thing? And I've dealt with that in my own personality. I remember going down this rabbit hole and really studying polytheism. When you make gods besides Allah, when you make a problem your God, when you make your ego your God, when you're so insecure and competitive, and catch yourself. And I do things personally to make sure that I'm checking my ego. Like if I go to an event, I don't post while I'm there, and I don't come home and post immediately so everybody can see that I'm there. I don't feed my ego in that way. Sometimes I'll wait a week and see if it even still feels important to me. Sometimes, you do that and you never know what you're feeding into because maybe your invitation to the event was somebody else's agenda. I do things like that to adjust my ego. I don't just jump up and jump in somebody's face just to be seen. I give it time. And so I pay attention and I focus on creativity. I focus on creating opportunities for myself and my inner circle. How can I support and expand what they're doing, what I'm doing, so that we all grow and we're all blessed to have cash flow. We're not sitting up like little chirpy birds hoping somebody feeds us. So we're able to push and take our organizations to the next level. That's the way, that's my mindset. That's how I move. And so if I don't do things like when I go places like run up to somebody just because they're a television star or they're an influencer and get a picture and post it real quick, because I'm constantly making sure that I'm not feeding any insecurities that come from trauma. That's a lot of times what we're doing. That will drive you to become jealous. You see somebody else having something, then you're like, I gotta have something too. You see that they do something, you're like, oh my God, I gotta do it too. And you're constantly evaluating. I'm so in tune with that. I can feel when a person is evaluating. Sometimes they're looking to see what you got on. Is this something that they can go and get? Is their stuff better than theirs? They're looking at your car. Is my car better? So all of those things, as you navigate through a spiritual journey, it's not as important. I used to be a person that always had 4 or 5 cars, luxury vehicles, just buying them. And I'm a car person. I love cars. But I had to, as I started to strip down my ego, had to say, what is all of this? Is it because I really like it, or is it ego? And the only way you're going to know is sometimes to let it go. And that's where the blessing comes in. And every time I would go through these major cleansing exercises in my life, I would gain a new spiritual gift. So people would ask, somebody asked me the other day, they said, man, I got to just sit with you so I can, get some of these gifts or something, they said. And I said, that's not how that happens. That comes from experiences. It comes from pain. It comes from sacrifice. It comes from winning, and it comes from losing. you gain additional knowledge, additional experience, additional opportunities come your way. And how you handle yourself as you navigate through this stuff is what will get you to those spiritual gifts. So it's no need in sitting up next to somebody being jealous because you feel like they got something that you don't have. They can do something that you don't do. It's no need in doing that. Be of service, settle yourself down, calm your ego down, stop trying to compete, stop trying to stunt on people, and really go deep into yourself. That's how important nation building is to me, that I'm willing to do what I got to do so that I can learn and study in a way that's deep that I can't get from a book. That's how important it is to me. Okay. Let me know how important is nation building and what we're talking about to you all. Okay. Let me see who we got in here. I see Nadir Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. What business are you in, Nadir? Let us know. Talk to us about your business. Oh, I was just talking about Sister Alita. Here she is. ASA Saturday blessings to everyone. Wa alaikum salam, sis. Nubia Latifa is in the house. She says, good morning, all. All right. And then I see Sister Monica in the house. Hey, sis. Hey. Wa alaikum salam. She says, great Saturday family. Let me know in the chat what businesses. I know, Alita, if you want to put the link to your new business venture and some of the stuff we're working on in the chat, we could do that too. We still got to get your promo video so we can start really promoting. But Zachary Muhammad, wa alaikum salam. Welcome, welcome. Any questions? Questions about historic preservation, the importance of it? Anything about the art and science of business that you all want to talk about, cover? I've been talking all week about this. I was on the Liberated Sisters podcast. We talked about it there. RJ Funches, Raja Fun. I hope I said that right. Wa alaikum salam. And today we're going to be talking about it a little bit at the Silver Room, the Art and Science of Business networking event. Come through. Bring your business cards. We're going to talk. I'm going to sign some of the books. You can pick up your copy there. If you already have your book and you want to bring it, you want me to sign it, I'm happy to do that as well at that time. But the key thing is to really, really get us focused on nation building. And nation building is both internal and external. Because this is a question I ask myself. Am I worthy of leadership, of blessings? Can I handle it? See, a lot of us want to be Beyonce, but we don't want nobody talking about us. I say that all the time, but no, it's real. A lot of us want to be Oprah, but we don't want nobody saying nothing. We don't want to go through that. A lot of us want to be Jay-Z, but we don't want to have to write no checks. It's real talk. A lot of us aren't ready for what comes with stepping into leadership, what comes with self-governance, what comes with having the things that we secretly in our mind are saying that we want. A lot of us aren't ready for it. I would say in business for me, the biggest thing I think probably that challenges me most is two-faced and Trojan horse type people. I just can't stand it. I feel like there's a special place in hell for people like that. Because if you sitting up around me, who is this? Ida, Sister Ida Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. She said, Liberated Sisters podcast. Awesome. Praise be to Allah. If you're sitting up in somebody's circle and you taking information back, see, when you look at these old movies, like from the Templars and the Ottoman Empire and the Mongolian Empire. People who did that were called traitors. Now we just say, oh, they just two-faced it, or they talking out the side, both sides of their neck. We water it down, make it seem easy. But that person that sits up in your circle, gathers information about you, and then goes back and tells somebody else so that they can use it against you. If this was 1400 years ago, they would be called traitors. Like I said, we water it down and stuff now. But I think that's one of the most egregious things when it comes to business. So you have to learn how to keep secrets. The Holy Quran talks about the keepers of the secrets, how to maintain a person's confidentiality. And when you become a seer, sometimes I'll be around people and I can see things, but I don't say anything because their privacy is important. And I respect their level of development that they're in, just like I hope a person that can see my faults can accept my level of development and that I'm working and growing through to be a better person. Something to think about. All right. Okay. So if y'all don't have no questions and we're not continuing that discussion, then I'm gonna sign off. I hope you all will come today, 4 p.m. Silver Room on 53rd Street. I think I said a lot in a short period of time today. A lot for us to think about. Oftentimes we start thinking about ourselves and thinking about how do we self-improve? Who are you today? Are you the same person today that you were yesterday? Have you gotten better or have you gotten worse? Is there somebody in your life that is striving to be supportive of you, to be a friend of you, but you're so insecure and two-faced and jealous that you can't accept it? It just drives you crazy, even just being around that person. This is what I would suggest that you do. If you find yourself so insecure that being around this person bothers you and it throws you off and then you become competitive and hateful, stop being around that person because you can't handle it. You ain't ready. And that's okay too. So understand where you are in your own personal development. Understand it. Don't accept and bite onto things that you know that maybe right now you can't handle. You just might not be able to handle. You may say, yeah, I want a $10 million deal, but you just might not be at that place mentally where you can handle it. Because it's a mental process to earning millions of dollars. It's a mental process to handling multi-million-dollar projects. It's a mindset. And you just may not be there yet. You think you are because you want it and you're dreaming about it and you got these deceptive intelligence delusions, but you're not there. You're not ready yet. It's going to require you and I to continue to study ourselves, work out our flaws. You can't be a scary person. You're not going to be able to be insecure. You really can't be a hater. If you pay attention to how a lot of these billionaires operate, not only do they have a tight inner circle, but they understand how to do business with each other, even if they don't get along. I was listening to some people that I know that have decided that they want to be Republicans. And they know that I don't ascribe to a party. So I'm independent. I'm very issues driven because I seen the handwriting on the wall, probably because I've been on the other side of the table, that if you line up with a particular party, it's not always in your best interest. This is just my personal opinion. I'm not trying to influence y'all. And these people were talking and they can't believe that the president met with the Muslim mayor of New York. And I said, this is not your father's Republican Party. This is not old school Republican Party. These people are issues driven. They are working towards issues that are important, or working on issues that are important to them. And so what the party looks like, the party PR, they don't care anymore. It's about what move is going to be a power move that's going to support the issues that are important to me, my community, my constituency, whoever their stakeholders are. I just personally believe that's how we need to be. You know, because on a local level, you may say, I support this person. On a national level, you may support another person. But I was listening to this conversation, and I wasn't really saying anything. And these people were just going on and on about, you know, the Democrats this and the Republicans that. And I can't believe that this particular Democrat did that. And I can't believe this particular Republican did that. And I asked a question, why can't you believe it? Is it because you have this PR campaign in your mind, this image of who you think the Republican Party is, or who you think the Democratic Party is, and that they shouldn't do it? Like, are you equating that to, what are you equating it to? And they couldn't really answer the question. I said, I just really think that you got to look at the issues. On a local level, you got to look at the issues. On a federal level, you got to look at the issues. That's just my opinion. There's some things that the Democrat Party, to me, go too far on. And there's some things about the Republican Party that I think is outright racist. We're choosing between, to me, Lucifer and Satan. So you got to cherry pick what pieces make sense. They were talking about the Epstein file. To me, to try to stop the exposure of files that outline a plan to impede and impact children, I can't support that. And there's some other things on the other side of the aisle that I can't support either. But there are things on both sides that I can say, all right, that may help us. This may help us. So I'm going to be very issues driven. And I just think that we have to start being that way in our life and start looking for what's right and what makes sense, as opposed to just blanket saying I'm with this political party or another, because times are changing. And as America falls, everybody's doing what they can to cushion the fall, to impact the economy. And people are making decisions and doing things that you may not have seen them do before, and you may not expect them to do. And so if you're not paying attention, and if you don't look, and if you're not studying, and if you're not making sure that you check yourself and seeing what stuff in you is ego driven and what stuff in you is antiquated. Some of us got old school views. Some of us are operating out of trauma. Some of us are scared. So we got a lot of work to do. And my hope is that my new book helps us. Okay. So anyway, we'll see you. Brother Lamont, assalamu alaikum. Welcome, welcome. We'll see you all today, 4 p.m. Silver Room. Bring your book. There'll be books there for you to purchase. If you bring your book, I'll sign it. And we're going to do a little talk and network, which is really what the whole idea. And so once a quarter, I try to do these networking events, and hopefully, inshallah, the next one we may do in the next couple months as well. So come on out today, and we will see you all then. Okay. We'll talk about some of the additional ways that you can continue to support historic preservation and the Elijah Muhammad House Museum. But right now, what I want you all to do is start preserving your own history. And I want us to start working on ourselves. This is important, because as we start to collaborate, we don't need nobody coming out of bag with all this old trauma We ain't got time for that. We got to figure out how to get around that and get to that next level. Okay, family. I will talk to you all soon, inshallah. Love you. Remember, it's not personal, it's vibrational.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible